It'll be like a Q&A sort of thing, or do I just like it's like a monologue sort of thing?
I will be asking you questions, so like
Okay.
we could have the conversation like that itself. So just to introduce you to our audience here, so we have Ms Jasleen here. She graduated from the 2019 batch of LLB from Jindal Law School itself. So Jasleen, just to have a smooth conversation, I would just like you to introduce yourself a little bit.
Hi everyone. I'm Jasleen. I did the 3-year LLB program from Jindal in 2016 and I graduated in 2019. Prior to that, I did my undergrad in political science from Delhi University. Uh, I did not really think about when I got admitted into law school, so law was never the path for me. But eventually, I found my bearings in law school while in Jindal, and I went on to work for a couple of years in litigation and in the editorial side of a legal blog before moving to the UK to pursue my LLM, which where I specialized in media and IP law. It was again a wonderful journey. It was just post lockdown, and I graduated in 2022 with a distinction, especially in my dissertation, which focused on fan fiction and copyright law. So very interesting turn of events for me, and very interesting subjects that I got to study during my LLM since my interest was in intellectual property. But again, there was a pivot, and I started working in legal tech, specifically in e-discovery, which is still not really known in India right now, but it is an up and coming field of law gradually. And now I've qualified as a solicitor this as of this year in London, in UK as well. So now I'm a dual qualified solicitor, and I am trying to figure out my path if I want to go into traditional solicitor way of practicing as a lawyer, or if I want to continue my journey in legal tech and explore the AI and the cross section of legal and tech and AI. So that's me.
Celine, just to kick off the webinar, how just a light-hearted question here, how was the Jindal experience for you?
It was wonderful. I would just say, I think it changed me as a person. It made me into who I am, not just professionally, but in a lot of aspects personally also. Most wonderful 3 years of my life yet. I still am in touch with all the friends I made, a few of the professors. It has changed a lot in the last 5 years since I have graduated Jindal as a university. Uh, l- the infrastructure also. So if I go back now, I might not see the old haunts that we used to hang out in or the same library, but it's still so fresh in my memory. And I think Jindal exposes you to not just academics, it exposes everyone to a lot of different opportunities. A lot of my friends went to summer schools or semester exchanges. I could not attend a semester exchange which I was interested in because I was working on a Moot, which eventually did take me to US, and we ended up winning the Moot. So we were the only uh, team from India. So it just felt like a huge victory, not just for Jindal, but also for India because it was very strange being there, and people were asking random questions like, how do you speak such good English? Which was, and yeah, so it felt great pride when we defeated that team itself who had asked me that question. And it was all because of Jindal, all the opportunities that Jindal had provided, the internships. I did not get placed through Jindal because I did not apply there because I was one of the reasons I did not go through the placement cells was I was still figuring out if I want to do corporate law or study further or go into litigation. But the opportunities like the internships, the I was also teaching assistant for Professor Rashmi Raman when she was our professor. I did take up a lot of interesting electives in my last semester. I was also a board member for the Human Rights Society. So again, lot of opportunities all over around to develop you into a wholesome person and a lawyer.
So, Jasleen, to, kick off the webinar itself, my first question to you, with reference to the topic itself. So, how do you think these experiences at Jindal, or, your early career also, helped you become a solicitor itself, or, helped you aim towards a dual qualification?
So yes, I would say Jindal had, apart from external factors, Jindal had a lot of effect on my journey. One, because it was not a culture shock when I went to UK to study, first of all, because I had participated in events where international teams were there. We were taught some of the electives and the subjects, core subjects, by professors who were not, who had come from some other universities or who were not Indian. So I was sort of used to the academic practices of the Western world, of Europe or UK. So it was not a cultural shock. That was one thing. Secondly, the professors, most of the professors were so good in what they are doing, what they're teaching, that my base was clear. And as we know, or if there are any freshers, first year students, they would eventually get to know Indian law is heavily inspired by English law. So when I was studying the core subjects that we need to study for clearing the solicitor's qualifying exam, it is way similar to the Indian law. So my base was very clear, and I did not face as much difficulty as I see my peers facing till now who are trying to attempt the exam or who have taken the exam previously with me. So in that way, yes, it Jindal was a huge help. And I had constant motivation from my friends or my colleagues from Jindal. I had guidance of my professors, and they're still very helpful. If I need a reference letter or anything, they're still very helpful. So yes, Jindal exposed me to the paths that I could eventually take up. In that sense, yes, my SQE journey or my dual qualification journey, I have a lot of gratitude for Jindal in that.
So, anything in particular, Jasleen, that you believe is really important, that you would deem important in your journey itself, anything professional or educational?
Uh, I think if somebody asked me right now to give an advice to a student who's planning to take this path, I would tell you what to do, the things that I did not do. So it is like a huge learning of my last 3-4 years after Jindal. Don't miss out on internships if you're getting any just because you want to enjoy your summer or you want to go on vacation. I've done that, and yeah, I still have regrets. Secondly, if you are planning on going abroad, India, yes, still a lot of the traditional way of job applications or qualifying. AIB is nothing in compare when you compare it to other bar exams in US or UK. So I would not go there. But if you're applying for jobs and different internships or fellowships also for that matter, network a lot. And this especially comes into play if you are planning to, or if you're already studying abroad, or if you're planning ever to move abroad through your academics or or just professionally directly. So network a lot and attend events, try out different things. When you are in law school, which spans over 3 or 5 years, you have a lot of time to try different things. Don't just focus on academics. You can still manage academics. Go for semester exchanges, go for summer schools if you have the chance, if you have the will for it. Um, do different activities, become part of different societies. Even becoming a part of Biswa Mill is great. It offers you a lot of soft skills that eventually come into play. It develops your confidence. It doesn't Your activities don't have to be law related. Don't only focus on Moot or client counseling if you are not up for it. You can do a lot of things. Focus on research if you're a more introverted person, research oriented person. Focus on research, focus on publishing articles if you're good at writing. Stay in touch with your professors. Don't lose touch. They are all very helpful, most of them, especially from my time. I think Professor Malvika Seth is still there. Professor Rashmi Raman is also still there. So they're all very helpful people. Even if they've moved out of Jindal and changed countries also, they're still helpful because of our Jindal connection. So yes, and the name itself, it speaks. If you go to Oxford, Cambridge also, the name OP Jindal speaks for itself. So make use of that name. Do a lot of things other than academics.
So, Jasleen, just in those lines only, what all challenges did you face during when you were studying, or when you had to pass your exams for like a different jurisdiction kind of law altogether?
So I was self-studying. That was one challenge, but it was a self-made challenge. I could have opted for a different way of learning. So that was personally that was a bit difficult because I did not have a schedule that somebody else was enforcing on me. So having good having a good schedule, time management, and I was working full time. So it becomes a bit difficult. Doing that. Secondly, I feel if somebody wants to become a solicitor or practice in UK through this SQE, they should, I think, first go for a work ex in UK itself, and then eventually try to take up SQE. Because once you are a solicitor, you're not trained there. So it's a very tricky loop that follows, that you are a solicitor, but you're not trained there. So you can't be a newly qualified solicitor and you won't get jobs easily. So it becomes sort of a loop. And I would suggest, and if you get a great job in a good firm, they might just sponsor your SQE because it's an expensive affair. It's not cheap and there are no scholarships. So that's one advice that I would give. And one difficulty that I faced was time management. Academically, it's not so difficult because again, it's very similar to Indian law. So it was more or less what the concepts that I had studied during my law school there in India were uh, coming in handy while I was studying for SQE. SQE2, I would be honest here, I got an exemption because I had prior work experience. So I got an exemption. But from what I've heard from my friends and peers, that SQE2 is a bit tricky and it spans over 3 to 5 days. So that would need a lot of vocal skills. You need to present your case and an article. Includes arguing also, I believe, or client counseling, something like that. So, different challenges for different people. It was difficult for me because I was away from family, away from my comfort zone. So I had no emotional support during that difficult. It is a difficult journey. Even though I'm saying and making it sound really fancy that my bases were clear and everything, it is a difficult journey. It consumes a lot of you. Um, and being alone on that journey is not a nice feeling. So, what I would suggest to somebody who is who's planning to take up this course of action is try finding study groups, try finding people who are going through the same journey, or even if they're planning to take it in a different time and not the same exam as you, try to study in groups, try to find people who are on the same journey, have emotional support, be in communication with your friends, family, therapist, whoever you feel the most comfortable with, and it it would pass. So that's the advice, and that's the my difficulty.
So, Jasleen, since we're already on the same page, talking about cultural differences also, between the two countries, India and UK. So, do you believe there's a difference in the practice also, practice of law as well? And how did you actually try and adapt to that gap in cultural practice itself?
Uh, yes, structurally itself, Indian law and English law are very different. For instance, we have divided the law into subjects that we can still be doing research and the back end work of contracts and everything, and still be going and arguing in front of the court. UK, it's a bit different. We have barristers and solicitors, and then they are divided into different subjects and different levels of seniority. So that is different. what I can do as a newly qualified or even just a fresher out of school, if I even if I've not taken the AIB, I would never even think about doing those kind of jobs in the UK. So that's that there's a it's I would say it's a little it's a little loopholey. There are a lot of loopholes to go through, but if you see the big picture, it's more organized. You know what you have to do, you know what you're supposed to do. You have a lot of external support like paralegals, legal assistants, people who do the research work for solicitors, and you have conveyancing assistants for different kind of procedures of law. So it's more organized, the workload is well divided, the timings are bad compared to what we hear that you 6 o'clock after 6 o'clock nobody's emailing you. No, they are emailing you at 12 a.m. there in London also. But it's not as bad in litigation as it is in litigation in India. So it's more structured, it's more consistent. There are way less random balls being thrown at you in terms of managing your work. So in that way, yes, the pay again is equivalent of what you have invested, what your time, your energy, your youth, your 20s. So it's somewhat equivalent. It comes back to you multifolds from the entry level itself. Uh, Again, it depends where you are based, what sort of job you're doing. But yeah, since I have worked in both the countries for 2 years equally now, I think that there's a huge difference, and India, in that way, needs to become more structured and pay well, especially interns and junior solicitors and or litigation. So it was a nice experience working there after being in litigation in India for 2 years. It was a wonderful change, a welcome change. And yeah, I really enjoy my job here.
So, Jasleen, there might be a lot of myths and rumors going around, maybe about, your line of profession itself. So, is there anything that you would like to share with the audience itself that is not true, and you want to, just nip the bud at the center itself? So, do you want to take care of one of any of the myths that you feel are just going around and, are, they need to be taken care of?
So first of all, before I get into the myths and what I feel is not true, or I would like to explain what e-discovery is, because it's not really out there in India, and a lot of even lawyers, for that matter, don't know a lot about it. So it's nothing very scary. It's basically document review. For instance, when we get handed a case, or if there's a GDPR breach and information is leaked, like there's a huge information leak right now in with Google and Meta and Marks and Spencer in UK. So when such things happen, e-discovery professionals are recruited, and they are tasked with handling this breach, and they have to go through multitudes of documents, whether they're emails or like electronic documents or paper documents. But we do it all on the software. So the paper documents are also scanned copies, and we figure out what sort of private information has been leaked or has breached. So again, it is of two kinds. One is the which focuses on the breach of private information, and one is when we are focused on a case which is in court, and we have to go through huge documents to see which document is relevant to the case, which is not, and if it is relevant, is it a privileged document? Can we share it in the court? If yes, how much of the document can we share? So it's sort of sounds like very rhetorical, but it's very interesting because every time a project ends, you start with a new project, and it doesn't have to be in the same field of law. So in my 2 years of working in e-discovery, I have worked in everything from medical negligence and insurance claims and wills and trusts and contract management and data breach. So I go through a lot of documents, and they're all very interesting. So it's a very interesting field. In India, it is still not new, and that's why I'll share this anecdote. I was talking to a senior lawyer, and he's been in the practice for I think 20 years now. He's a family friend, so we know him. outside of the professional world. And he was asking me what I do in London, and I explained him. And his first question was like, "But is it not illegal?" And I'm like, I was just so surprised, but I was like, I'm doing the exact work that you make your juniors do. When you have a huge case, and if your writ petition is 1,200 pages, I can just imagine how much of the documents you are using as your exhibits, and how many more documents you have discarded as useless. So I am just reducing that back end work of the solicitor or the law firm. And again, law firms can have their own e-discovery teams or professionals. They can hire contractual professionals also to work with them if and when they have the need. Or there are outsourcing companies which take up these sort of cases. I am working in such an outsourcing company called Conduent, and it has presence in India as well. And we take, like, law firms approach us, we sign a contract with them, and every contract worker also signs an NDA. So it's not illegal. They're not, the law firms are not sharing privileged information with us. And even if they are, it's a part of the process. We are reducing the workload of somebody else. It's as simple as that. So that is one myth, that it's not illegal. It's still legal work, and it is a part of law. And in India also now there are a lot of law firms who don't have e-discovery teams, but there are a lot of outsourcing companies that have come up. I From the top of my mind, there's IOTA Analytics, there is Conduent, which has presence, there is Exo Edge, there is Transperfect, and all of these are KL Discovery has just started their offices in India last year, and they are hiring left, right, and center if anyone is interested. So yeah, these are the offices, and they are all outsourcing offices because Indian law firms are still not as trusting of these processes. They are doing a lot of back end work for law firms based in UK, US, and Australia, which is really sad because it is a huge help. We use AI to go through the documents, but there are still humans who are actually handling this AI. It reduces the work pressure of law firms a lot, and AI is not going to take your job. That's the second myth. AI is not going to take your job, because from my experience, yes, we use AI to scan these documents, but AI sometimes doesn't understand the handwriting, doesn't understand that it's not English, it's French, because the alphabets are the same. So that's where humans come in. And even if it might reduce the workload of the humans, but it will not replace humans. So yeah, these are the two myths of my profession that I would like to bust.
So, I mean, talking about AI, I think I talked about AI in my last webinar also with Dr. Anush Ganesh. So, he himself is a lecturer at one of the UK universities. So, we were just talking about how, AI, I believe AI is, Indian society, I don't believe has developed the kind of tolerance that is needed for AI to be integrated into the into the society itself. It's basically there to make your life easier. It's like you said, it's not there to take your job. It's there to make your
Exactly.
life a little more easier. So I believe having AI tolerance is very important that way if we want to grow as a society also. So
Exactly.
so I believe, yeah, that's my opinion on the fact. So
Yeah.
Jasleen, for my next question, what okay, so you were talking about regrets in, the early minutes of the webinar itself. So would you like to delve a little more into that? So what would you have done differently on your journey itself?
A lot of things, to be honest. But yeah, um, one is again networking, super important in our field of law, whether you're in India or abroad. Abroad more so because the job market is tough. Everyone's out there to get your job. So networking just creates that sort of personal touch, which might not get you the job, but might get you a lot of different opportunities, clients, referrals. Very important. Secondly, I think My second regret is not doing a 5 year law instead of 3 years. I would be biased here because my 3 years were great in general. So it's more of, I wish I could have spent more time. But also, I see 5 year people who've done the 5 year program or are currently doing it, they have a lot more time to explore different sort of fields of law. They get 5 summers, 5 winters, 4 winters to sort of explore what different internships, different extracurriculars, uh, and different electives also. They get more electives also, I think. So that is one regret, but then I have my pros and con list about it. I'll not go into that right now. Thirdly, I think it would be not being out there as a any field, in fact, not just law, right? In the current world, it's very important to sell yourself. You have to be confident enough to make sure the other person also believes in your capabilities. So no self doubt, please. You are here because you were meant to be here. So you, whether you're in Jindal, I'm sure if you're in Jindal, you had great score, you cleared the LSAT. don't don't There's no room for imposter syndrome right now. If your article gets published, you deserved it. That's why it's there. And if you are hiding your qualities or your achievements because you feel that nobody cares, people care. If they're not caring right now, they would eventually care when you step into the job life. So note everything down, even the little things. I feel so stupid about it right now that I lost a lot of things, or I did not care enough to collect the certificates while I was leaving my uh, Delhi University or even Jindal. I still don't have my certificate for the Human Rights Board as a board member, because I was just like, who cares about Human Rights Board member? It would not matter eventually, but it matters. And if not, you can still keep it as a keepsake for your, like 20 years down the lane. So don't miss out on collecting these things. Stay in touch with your professors. Use office hours really wisely. I was too shy to approach professors in the first 3 semesters or so of my law school. And like I said, Jindal changed me as a person. So it made me more confident and more sure of myself. And eventually, I did start taking up those opportunities and doing a lot of different things. Participating in the Moot helped a lot. And it was also accidental. When I was in my second year, we were forced to do Moots. It was part of our I think the core things. So it was part of it, and we were forced to do moves. Somehow, my first mood went out really well, and I was selected to actually participate in some international mood. So it was an accidental thing, but it really boosted my confidence. So don't miss out on these opportunities because you're shy. The professors are there to help you. You have your Just pick up your friends and do things. Like that's my uh one regret, that I did not do things, even if it's a party. Just do it. You're in law school, you're not getting your early 20s back. So that's the other regret. And then it would be being more proactive in uh, taking up space and asking for what you want. I did not do a lot of things during my LLM, because I was like, okay, I'm still a student. I don't need to do this part-time job, or I don't need to start applying for internships or jobs right now. Be proactive. If you feel that you are bringing something to to the table, start applying right now. Apply for the job, even if you match only 40% of the criteria. Uh, do a part-time job if you think it will help you eventually. Do it. If you are doing it for the money, then also do it, because it will give you soft skills that matter a lot in the long run. So yeah, top 5 regrets.
It's like top five completely. So, Jasleen, for like a more positive question now,
Yeah.
something that you remember from your time here that you believe you will never forget.
Lots of little different things. One would definitely be Biswa Mill. Unfortunately, I've just attended one Biswa Mill out of my 3 years, but it was the best night of all 3 years.
So you made it
Um,
count. If it was only one,
yeah,
experience, so you made
yeah,
it count at least.
exactly.
Yeah.
And Coke Studio was there. So yeah,
Oh,
amazing. I
oh,
think it
that's
was
amazing.
2017 Biswa Mill when Coke Studio was there. So yeah, great opportunity and great times to be there. Uh, then second I think would be winning the Moot. It was very surreal. There were literally real judges of courts of in US. So very surreal experience. I had to pinch myself for 1 week later. And the way everyone celebrated, Jindal celebrated, I did not even know, but I was in the uh, I think the regular newsletter, weekly newsletter emails that people get, but we were featured in there. And for next after I came back to the university, random people, students would approach me, oh, you just won the Moot. And I'm like, okay, so it's not just me and my friends who are celebrating. The university is celebrating my victory, so it felt really great and appreciated, that whole event. um and then would be the farewell week. It was something that I still have literal, like, real mementos, my thumbs up bottle ka cap and all that I have still kept, because I just did not wish to leave that place. So, and I think, mm, I got an O in my family law, which was again very wonderful because I did not think I was good at that. And so a lot of little wins, and the friends I've made, our random roommate parties, everything made up for that, made the whole Jindal experience what it is. It's very difficult to pick out a few moments. It's a lot of different moments that make up the whole experience.
I can imagine completely. So just to wrap up the whole webinar, Jasleen, any last or final thoughts that you have on the topic itself?
So my final thoughts on this journey of becoming a dual qualified solicitor is, sometimes you aim for it, sometimes life makes you do it. Whatever it is, just be there. Um, do what do what you're supposed to do, but make sure you're not doing it because you think it is the right path. Do it because you want to do it, and ask people who have gone through this journey, who have taken up these exams and what they're doing. LinkedIn is your best friend for that. Reach out to people, ask for their opinions if they think it is a good option for your career path or not. Like I said, it's an expensive affair. It is time consuming. It took up a year and a half, even though I was exempted from one of the exams. The whole qualification process is really long. So yes, I would say that, do it if you really want to do it. If you have a clear idea of what you would use this for, uh, and given the job market right now, if you think even moving abroad is a great idea, uh, and the journey itself, SQA is a bit complicated. So you can reach out to me on LinkedIn or anyone who has taken up SQA, and ask for help, frequently ask questions, any doubts you have. If you think it's a good idea, my honest opinion, if you want more honesty. But yeah, that would be, yeah, that's it.
So, Jasleen, this has been an eye opener for me. Also, this particular webinar. So I did not know something like this also existed in the world. So thank you so much for giving me more knowledge. And it has actually been really wonderful talking to you.
Yeah,
So hopefully we do, if you're up for it, we'll do another phase of this series itself. So we can do another webinar if you're up for it then.
yeah,
So
definitely.
yeah.
Whatever makes
So
me come
thank you
back
so
to
much.
Jindal.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, of course. So, thank you so much for connecting with us, and hopefully, the kids definitely reach out to you. Anybody who's got more clarity after seeing this. So, yeah, thank you so much.
No worries. Thank you and have a great day ahead.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye.